If you look at CBSE textbooks, CBSE textbooks start only from 1 CE or 1 AD, which is the first year of the Common Era, or Anno Domini 1, as if India did not have an existence before that. You go to the Incredible India website, the tourism website, it repeats the same nonsense which Westerners have thrust on us, that Aryans from Central Asia came on horseback 2,500 years ago, and they invaded the Indus Valley civilization and the Harappan civilization. And what you know as India today is the product of that rape, that butchery, that savagery, and that invasion. This is the nonsense that's being peddled. And this is being peddled from the official website of the government of India. So if the government of India endorses this kind of untruth and this kind of historical distortion, foreigners are bound to latch onto it. Those who are interested in driving a wedge between Indians will certainly latch onto it. The next thing they'll say is that the Devanagari script is completely different from the script of the South. And since there is no bar on the top, it shows how fundamentally different we are as people. Therefore, a bar on the top of letters will decide that you and I are different entirely. That's going to decide the history of this country. Being hospitable is not the same as becoming a slave to somebody else. But unfortunately, if you're repeatedly told that for generations together, you have been slaves, you will continue to be slaves, your entire value system is a bunch of humbug and a load of superstition, you're bound to think of yourself as people who deserve to be treated like slaves. Have you heard of any incidents against Arabs in Australia? Can an Arab student be killed the way an Indian student is killed in Australia? I don't think so. Because they believe, one, there will be repercussions if you touch them. That's one. Two, Indians hai. Humility is our central identity. That's our central feature. Humility, according to me, is the most misunderstood trait as far as Indian history is concerned. Humility simply means there could be someone better than me and recognizing the fact that there could be someone superior to me. But that does not translate to accepting that I'm inferior to everybody else. That is the definition of humility as far as India is concerned, and that repeats itself on a regular basis in the manner in which Indian history is projected. Do you know of the number of expansionist, let's say, wars or campaigns undertaken by the Cholas in the Southeast Asia? How many Chola kings are we aware of? Are we aware of the fact that it took 5 different armies of 5 different sultanates to destroy the Vijayanagara Empire? That it was an unequal war? And the rampage of Hampi went on for 6 months. It took several years for people, or rather several months for people to destroy one civilization or one empire. But all we hear is a tomb which is built for somebody's second or third wife. And I suspect he had a wife after that. And one of his daughters also performed the role of a wife later. This is a fact. When Shah Jahan was imprisoned along with his daughter by Aurangzeb, there are written records which clearly say that his daughter effectively had to take up the role or don the mantle of a wife. And yet, that tomb is supposed to be the symbol of his love for his wife. Great, accepted. Is there nothing else worth showcasing in India? If you go to any country, even in America, the worst or the latest that they can show, or the earliest that they can show, is a structure running before about 300 or 400 years. 300, 400 years, I think there will be a temple in a village in this country, in every village. Most temples, at least in the south, are at least 2,500 years old or 2,000 years old. The reason why I have to talk about the south is most temples of the north have effectively, how do I put it, which anyway we can't talk about. It would be extremely politically incorrect. It could hurt a lot of sentiments. It could hurt so many sentiments that I will find a lot of death threats and hate mails coming to me the next day. So I'd rather not talk about it. But then, if you really want to read about it, please read Sri Sitaram Goyal's book what happened to Hindu temples. He gives a detailed exposition of destruction by destruction, the number of temples that were destroyed. Recontextualizing history is not about knowing certain facts, certain dates. It is first of all about understanding the value of history and then focusing on the facts. If the mind is not a fertile ground to receive facts because it does not see the value in receiving those facts, आप facts भरते जाइए, उससे क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? जब तक परसेप्शन और एटीट्यूड में कोई चेंज नहीं होगा, सत्य का उस पर कोई असर नहीं होगा, कोई प्रभाव नहीं पड़ेगा.